So I was recently in a Twitter space and we were talking about everything that's been going on with Olivia Hart, who has just come into the Power Ranger space in Power Rangers The Return, written by Amy and Matt. And one thing kind of like sparked my mind was, what happens if we get a twist, a plot twist to something in the comic books? And I generally think that if they did this, I would absolutely love it and be like, it was worth my money. It's worth my Kickstarter money because I didn't see it. The fans didn't see it. And again, it would have been kind of perfect. So what am I talking about? So when we look at the story, it says 22 years ago, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers achieved their ultimate victory against the forces of evil, and it cost them everything. Now the long disbanded team reunites to mourn the losses of beloved friends, but Zach and Billy have some unexpected information to share. Jason, the Red Ranger, has been operating as a lone vigilante and has since disappeared. Will the remaining Rangers be able to track him down, especially with a mysterious figure in pursuit? We've seen the new artwork by Dan, and this is obviously Jason, the Red Ranger. Notice how he's rugged, he's moved on. You know, this is basically looking like old man Jason, and this is going to be a thing. Now, could you imagine that Kimberly turns around to Jason as he is walking off? You know, he says, I'm not going to bother joining you. I have to fight this alone. And she's just like, Olivia's your daughter. And he stops and he looks back and he's like, what? And Olivia's there going, what? And it's like, yes, it's true. Before you left, that one night that we had together, I found out that Olivia was yours. And it's just like, wait, what? Imagine the thoughts. Like, if Tommy's there, you know, he's like, what? She's like, I'm sorry, I thought it was yours, but now I know she's Jason's daughter. Like, could you imagine? And that's the reason why it's Olivia Hart and not like, you know, Olivia Oliver, which would be kind of really weird to say. But could you imagine the shock when the reader reads that? Could you imagine that it's like, what the hell? I would be like, bravo. 100% bravo, Amy, for writing something like that. Olivia would be shocked because all the way through she thought her father was Tommy. That's the reason why she's donned the Green Ranger. You know, that's the reason why, you know, she's taken that. And obviously, you know, Tommy's passed the powers down or whatever the storyline for that one is. As I said, if this was the case, I would be so happy, and obviously my Kickstarter would be like, I am 100% on board. I'm so glad that I have this in double print, that I've got it on my shelf, and I'd be like, do you know what? That would be a fantastic story all the way through. It would also mean that anything that Amy Jo Johnson wrote for Boom in the future, I would back straight away, be knowing that that was the sort of writing that we were getting. I would wholeheartedly love it. I think I'd just be like, well done, Amy. And I would give it a lot more props and a lot more creative imagination on this, because it would shock everybody in one go, I think. Kind of also thinking, with the people who grew up with Mighty Morphin like myself and all the way through the franchise, you know, it would take a more kind of adult way of doing it, like not adult in the naughty way, but more of the kind of tone, the kind of topics that people have. This would definitely be up there. It'd be a little bit dark, don't get me wrong. I feel like this would be a way to kind of show the comics in a different light, to say, hey, we've already had some dark tones, but this is darker than anything. But it also shows like a realization at the same time. I would also kind of like it to see how Tommy would react if this was true. Imagine that you find out that, you know, your daughter you've cared for is someone else's, and how he would then take on responsibility. You know, we all know that he would stick there regardless, and that's what most people would do. You could have that kind of like torment in a way of like, what does he do? You know, for that one page where he's like, you know, I could just walk away, or no, I'm going to look after Olivia. She is mine. You know, Jason wasn't here. And I feel like that is something that would be so interesting and bring a freshness to the Power Ranger comics. This would age up the comics as well, which again I think works well, because we're used to seeing a few things in this, like, but we haven't seen the comic age. We haven't seen the characters kind of mature, become different. We've seen stuff where Jason is angry in previous ones, or we've seen characters not really open up so much. So this would bring so much. I would enjoy reading this because it would be completely different in my eyes. So I'm going to end the video there. I would absolutely love this. I think this would be a great thing to say, to find out that Olivia is actually Jason's and the kind of what would happen next type thing. I think that would be really, really cool. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there. What are your thoughts? Do you think this could happen? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you very much for listening and watching. If you want to help the channel out, hit like, favorite, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And why not go that little bit extra and check out the Patreon as well as the channel memberships. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimona Cat, Kira Stanada, Micah Baldwin. Your help goes a long way to help support the channel, and if you want to help support the channel, the links to my Patreon and channel memberships are listed below in the description.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。